Now let's go start our effective time management. Um, we all we all have a lot of times right now. If you cannot go to work right now, get stuck at home, and all you have is just time, right? So how are you gonna manage it effectively? This is something that we're gonna talk about right here, right now. Okay. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about is what is time management, and then why it's important, and how to manage your time effectively. Okay, so very straightforward, right? What, why, and how. Okay. Now, what is time management? Think about it. Well, it's straightforward. It's manage your time. So yes, it's a process of organizing and planning how to divide your time between specific activities. So you're not just only manage your time, but also organizing it and planning it of your specific activities. So think about every day that you have and how to manage your time. That means how to organize and plan your activities during the day. Okay, now let's look at this one a little bit, and you can adjust it during according to your personal case. Okay, now everybody has 24/7 versus true, and for those who are stay home due to the lockdown or social distancing, and you probably have every day staying at home. Now we take out 8 hours of sleep, 1 hour so personal hygiene, take a shower, 3 hours a meal, basically like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and 1 hour snack in different times, and 1 hour exercise if you desire to. You walk around and you run around or jog around, and it totally probably roughly 14 hours. So you roughly have another 10 hours left that you can do whatever you feel ready to do. That's a lot of time. 10 hours, that's a lot of time to call free time, right? So how are you going to make effective use of your 10 hours? 10 hours, guys, that's a lot of time. Okay, but before we're gonna talk about the time management, let's talk about attitude. Okay, we all have attitudes, and think about this. The attitude would be, I can do everything. All right, there's so much to do and I have to do it all. Well, the other would be, I cannot do anything. Well, I don't want to do anything anyway, and I just need a vacation. So these two are extreme attitudes. If you can identify with somebody around you may have this kind of attitude. So the first one, I can do everything, that is overwhelming and beyond practical expectations, because practically you cannot do that. You are not Superman or Superwoman. You cannot do everything. But on the other side, if you say you cannot do anything, that is not true neither, because you have the capability to do something. You cannot just going extreme and rejecting everything. The reason we're going to talk about the attitude first, because sometimes even me myself would probably fall into one or two of these categories, and would say, hey, I have so much time, I have so many things I want to do. I want to do this, that, this and that, and everything. But we'll probably end up doing not anything. It will burn out, and disappointment, I cannot do that, I cannot meet up my expectations. Or the other side, I just don't want to do anything, and become like super unproductive and feel guilty about not using the time effectively. So if we fall into these two categories, it will end up either disappointment or guilt. So let's try to avoid it. Stay in the middle, stay in a neutral zone, and knowing that we are somewhere in between. Okay. Alright, so what activities can you do? There's so many things one can do. For example, if you are a student, you are studying, no matter you're K-12, or college and graduate student, or even adult, you can always find something to study. Or if you're working and you work at home, you're using social distancing and video conferencing, and you can do all sort of things. Or you can, I don't study, I don't work, I just rest. You can sleep, you can rest and watch YouTube videos and Netflix videos, Hulu videos, and all sort of things. And some people will say, well, I play every day. I play video game, board game, role play game, D&D, I play sport, I have hobbies, and all of those would take time. So think about what category of activities you want to do. Think about it. If you're young adults, teenagers, you're not like work absolutely 8 hours. You probably work a little bit, but probably don't. And you probably want to schedule out your time slots during the day, like what time you study, what time to what time you're going to play, what time to what time you probably work a little bit, what time to what time you're going to rest a little bit. So it's very effective that you put your time into different slots and arrange it into different activities, and having a good mindset, a clear visions of what activities you want to do. All right. Second, why time management is so important? Because it impacts on our daily routines, energy level, self-confidence, sense of accomplishments, and future accomplishments. So, time management is not just impacted on our time and what activities that we do, but it also impacts on what kind of expectation we set to ourselves and what kind of mental wellness and it come afterwards. And like I said, if you have those two extreme attitudes, it may end up with burnout, disappointment, or guilt. But if you set your mind in a good attitude, and you'll be able to use your time much more effectively. And when you use time effectively, that means you'll be more productive. You'll be more productive, you'll get more things done. Guess what? You have a great sense of accomplishment. So it's kind of like a domino effect right here. Okay. Now, our tendency is delaying, however, because sometimes we say, well, I don't want to do it. Let's wait till tomorrow because all we have is time. Yes, you're right. However, that's our human tendency that we always delay things to do. If we really have the choice, we probably would not do it at all. For example, right now I'm doing live streaming and I'm doing videos, recording, and can I wait it till tomorrow? Probably yes, because I have time. But can I wait it till forever if I really wanted and desire to? Probably can. However, would that be productive? No. Did I get it done? If I waited, I probably won't. So I better just get up and do it. And that is the things that even though our tendency is delaying, now it's possible, very possible, to say no to it. You have to build up your strong will to be able to say no to our natural human tendency of delaying. All right. Now, time management impacts on how we see ourselves and what task we're going to accomplish, how others perceived us, and how we feel about life, how we fulfilled our callings, and what character traits we develop. You may probably think, well, how could that impact on anything? I don't see it. Well, let's take an example about myself. And right now I'm staying at home, and I don't have a work because my workplace got impacted by the pandemic, and I imagine a lot of people would have the same boat as me. So I stay at home. It does not mean you have nothing to do. and you created your own activities to do that you could be productive. So would have two different opinions, and I live with my husband and families, and they would be the witness of my life, even though they may not be at home always, and they may have their work, and they may not watch me all the time. However, how I live my life impacted on them, because they will perceive me as a person being productive, being effective, or being lazy and doing nothing at all. So having a good time management not only just impacted on yourself, but also impacted on how others perceive you, how yourself perceive yourself. And because when I feel like I get things done, I make things move forward, I can improve what I wanted to do, that gives me self-confidence and a sense of achievement as well. And when all those combine together, it impacted you, what kind of product you are producing for your future. You're producing value, producing knowledge, producing your learning skills or anything like that. And so it's very, very important to understand time management is not just impacted on what you organize or plan your activities for today, but it has a domino effect impacted on how people perceive you, how you perceive yourself, and how productive and what kind of products you make for the future, and what kind of characters that you develop as a human being. Are you going to be a self-control, self-disciplined person, a diligent person, or you will be completely chaos or having no desire of whatsoever, just whatever, that kind of personality or characteristic. So this is the very first step, time management. It impacted on a lot of things, and I just hope you can see a glimpse of it and how important it may be. Okay, now what does the Bible say about time management? That's really interesting. Have you ever thought about that? That would be in the Bible. Okay, now the first one, the Psalms 90, verse 12, it says, "Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." Alright, how many of you think about how many of you have ever think about how many days you're gonna live? Okay, I don't usually think about how many years I'm gonna have in my life. But my parents always say, well, I'm gonna live to 80 years old. And I do hope so. I sincerely, wholeheartedly hope so. But the fact is that we don't know how many days we're gonna have on this earth. And it just, it's a part of life. You have uncertainty, and you really don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. That's why today is so important, because this is only day that you could total control in your hand and say, I have today. You cannot say I have tomorrow, because nobody's have certainty knowing what's gonna happen tomorrow. So by knowing that, it gives you another perspective of how important time is. Because when we say we have 24/7, we assume that we have the whole week of 7 days waiting for us. But however, all you have, you can control, think about, is 24 hours within today. So how you gonna make the best use of your 24 hours? Make it healthy, effective, productive, joyful, peaceful, faithful, is completely in your hands. That gives you a sense of importance of everyday life. Waking up as I'm alive is a gift, and being able to do things and accordingly is a gift. Being able to have time in your hands and do the things you want, develop the skills you have, they are the gifts. So number your days, okay? Don't panic. Don't feel anxiety and things like that. No need to. But be thankful that you do have the times in your hands and make the best out of it. Alright, so the second one we're gonna talk about the scripture. is Ephesians chapter 5, 15 to 17. So then be careful how you live. Do not be unwise, but wise, making the best use of your time, because the time are evil. Therefore do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. Okay. Time passed by and you cannot buy it back. Let's face the fact that no matter how rich you are, there's something you cannot buy. You cannot buy true love. You probably can buy love, but true love you cannot buy by money. Somebody truly adores you, truly loves you, truly admires you, that is priceless. And time you cannot buy, no matter how rich or how wealthy you are. You cannot buy the time that you lost yesterday or last year or last decade. And when it passed, it passed. So that is another priceless factor of time that make sure you make use of it and wisely. Sometimes the wisdom may not come from the world, but the wisdom may come from the Lord. And know His idea, His will, what He wants you to do with your time. That's how to make the best out of it. It's very important. And the next one is also tied into wisdom that you see, that behave wisely towards outsiders and making the best of your time. And it's not only within your Christians, brothers and sisters and followers, and also towards outsiders and strangers and non-believers. When other people watching you, how you use your time, how you manage your time, how you live your life, that gives a reflection and a witness to them. So that can impact on the people who are watching you, who are witnessing, and knowing that, oh, this person's different. Why is this person different? Because Jesus is in this person. So I hope that, especially if you're a believer, that you'll be able to be a witness to other people. Eventually that would draw them to Christ, draw them to faith, and help others to live a better life and show them a better options to living. So that's very important as well. Be wise. Okay. Now, here's the tips, the practical tips of how to manage time effectively. Yay! We go out of talking about what is time management, why it's important, and now we're coming down to how to manage time effectively. Now, practical, doable, tractable, tangible, and accountable. And I put all those adjectives for you, and I know they could be a little catchy, but that's the whole point I want you to remember. So practical and doable. Make it realistic. That is the key. There's no doubt, there's no point making a goal that you cannot reach. And that going back to the attitude that I can do everything, that there's so much to do, I want to do them all. But you can't. Unfortunately, that's nobody is Superman or Superwoman, that no matter how cool, or how productive, how effective you are, you still cannot do everything. So make it practical, make it durable, realistic is the key. And make it to the point that you are able to do it. That's very important. There's no point making any goals that you cannot physically reach. So think about you have an apple tree that you are under the tree. The best way to get the apple is to you jump a little bit. So you grab the apple from the tree. But if you are aiming for the apple on the top of the tree, there's no way for you to get it with your physical limitation whatsoever. So there's no point to staring at that apples and dreaming and you get that apple, but you can't reach it, So yeah, think about the possibility and practical standpoint. All right, the second one, tangible and tractable. Break it down into small steps. By finishing each step, you can track how close to finish your goal. Reward yourself when you complete each step. Okay, for example, For example, my goal is to do this live stream, this video. Okay, so that is my goal. But when you look at this goal, it became a little fuzzy, became a little confusing, it became a little too generalized, and it's like, I don't know what to do. And you have to break it into different steps. So step 1, make a title. Step 2, prepare your streaming devices and making sure all the screens are right, and then checking all the audios and video, set a date, sit down and stream it and record it. So those are small steps. Now you can see how a big goal on the top and break it down into small pieces, and they sound less threatening, okay? And they sound much more achievable. So that's why it increases your possibility of finishing a task or achieving a goal when you be able to break down into small step, achievable step, and tractable steps. So you can measure it. When you look at it, you say, oh, I done this, check. I done this, check. Oh, I haven't done this, and then you go back to it and things like that. And also rewards yourself a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that you have to get yourself something super expensive, those things. It could be a little snack you enjoy, a little candy you like, a little small goodie that's you really wanted and desire, things like that. That it based on psychology, you feel rewarded. You feel a positive experience from it. It's like, oh, I'm so happy, I did it. This is a little reward. And that would increase your behaviors, continue this cycle. So it help you to continue to continue this time management pattern. So for example, if I finished this stream, for example, and I can sit down and play a little bit Final Fantasy, and I'm like, oh, I'm happy. And then this kind of thoughts and emotions and would help me to start another cycle of doing a stream and recording and those things. For students, if you studying and have a test, you can think about your favorite meal, your favorite candy, or your favorite show you want to watch. And after studying and finishing the exam online setting, I imagine, and you can, I can binge watch 1 hour on this and that, and I can eat my favorite snack and make it from oven or something. So that positive rewarding experience can help you to develop a healthy reinforcement and to get you increase the behavior of effective time management to achieve your next goal. Does that make sense? All right. Now, accountability right here is to tell somebody you trust. That could be your best friends. That could be your parents. That could be your spouse. That could be your professional therapists and counselors. The reason for this accountability is that you probably heard of accountability a lot. And the reason is important because when we decide to do something, if nobody knows, we probably say, if I don't do that, nobody knows anyway. What point? So you tend to just lack off and just not do it and delay. But if somebody knows, somebody checking on you, and in your heart you say, if I don't do it, somebody gonna ask me, hey, how's it going? How is your project? How is your study? How is this and that? And so you feel probably embarrassed. I haven't done that. Sorry for that. So accountability is kind of important, and no matter what ages, like for children, all the ups to adults and even elders. It's very natural as a human being, right? So if you have something accountable with some others people. Somebody gonna check on you, somebody gonna watch you to see how you do, and somebody gonna count on you. You said that's what you do. You'll be what a man, what a woman. That you have more possibility and tendency to do it, and so that's important. If you know what you want to do and put a time slot in your schedule, and you can tell the people you trust, your parents or sibling or children or professionals, and tell them, hey, this is what we're gonna do. This is what I wanted to do, and please hold me accountable. Please check on me once in a while. Not every day, probably. Don't push me too hard, but however, keep track with me. And I think that would be very helpful for your personal growth, and also for the other person feeling trusted, feeling needed. And it's also good for your friendship as well. Okay. Besides that, you also need this few things. The first one is self-discipline, and that can carry on day in and day out for what you want to do consistently. And second is self-control. When you face temptation, you have to be able to resist it, avoid falling off, and focus on what you want to accomplish. So no matter how the temptation comes, you have to focus on what you want to do and keep going. Spiritual wisdom. Let the Holy Spirit guide your decision-making, thinking, and feeling actions. So when you feel like lack of wisdom, and if you're a believer, may the Holy Spirit help you out and teach you what to say, guide you what to do. And also wise consultation. If you know somebody of wiser, more mature than your age or your spirituality, ask them what to do and let them to help you to plan it out. So those are very important, and two of them self-inner would be self-discipline and self-control. That would be your personal characteristics, and spiritual wisdom, that would be outside from the Lord and coming from outside, and also inside as well, because the Holy Spirit lives in you. And wise consultation is from outside, from others that you trusted, being wiser and more mature, guidance, accountability, and those things. And you need all of them to have a very effective time management. Alright, so this is time management. I hope you guys can find it helpful.